Hello and welcome to the Critically Clueless. Today we are finally doing a review on Conan Exiles. Now I know this game has been reviewed a few times now, however recently it got added to Game Pass. So I finally got my hands on it and so I figured I'd share my thoughts with you. Let's check it out. So Conan Exiles is a hardcore survival game. It's been developed and published by Funcom. It's currently on the PlayStation, the Xbox and the PC, and it will set you back at around $16.99 if you are choosing to buy it. Of course, I've already mentioned that it's on Game Pass. It recently got put onto Game Pass. And that's actually how I'm playing it. I'm playing it on the Xbox Series S, so my review is based on my experience with that. I understand that if you're playing on a PC, maybe you're going to get different problems that maybe I didn't encounter. So what is Conan Exiles? Well, it is exactly what I said. It is a hardcore survival game. You start in the middle of the desert with absolutely nothing. You then have to proceed to get the bare basics to survive. As you go through the game, you can unlock more and more things that you can use to craft and survive when it comes to armor, weapons, that sort of thing. And of course, you can build up a nice base, a nice defense, and also have both tames and thralls or slaves to kind of help make the game a little bit easier for you. Now, this game is PvP, PvE, and single player. Also, single player co-op as well. So there's a good few modes for you to pick through, depending on what it is that you actually want this game for. Now, all I'm going to say is that I played this game on single player. Now, I played on single player because I don't have the time to put into it to do the PvP side of it. However, I am coming off a hardcore PvP Ark background. That was my game. I remember back playing that when Conan Exiles very first came out, and I'm told that the game has improved massively since release. Now, that being said, like I said, my review is based on the single player experience alone. I can't comment too much on the PvP side. I don't know how toxic it is or isn't. But like I said, I did put in probably a few too many hours into this game. I really enjoyed Conan Exiles. In fact, I've put on another 15 hours into the game since getting all the footage that I got for the review. I'm into it an awful lot. Everything that I'd done or found for the review, I'd done as just a, ×1 settings, not a boosted server or anything like that. But I was really pleased to see just how easy it was if you wanted to change the settings within the game to make it easier or harder for yourself, that you actually had those options, and it was a lot easier to adjust all of those options and play God than I felt that other games were, like Ark for instance. Now, this game, like I said, is comparable with Ark. I think it's comparable with Green Hell as well. I think if you are into your survival games and you haven't played this, I would be extremely surprised. This game is a lot better than I thought it was. This is the first time I've ever really given this game a good go. I got no real lag or glitches or bugs. There was no dashboarding. Yes, when you're loading up the game, it's a little bit slow, even on the S, to actually load the game. But once you've loaded it, that's it. There's no more loading. This game is an open world game, and you can go as far as the eye can see with no problems at all. I was really surprised with how smooth this game actually played, and I've got to say that I feel that this is a massive upgrade on games like Ark as well. The graphics in this are better. Yes, they're not amazing, especially in today's world, especially with the graphics that we actually have available to us, but I was actually really surprised by just how well this game actually performed and done. The building itself is pretty good, actually. It's not as clunky as I thought it would be. Everything seemed to slot together pretty well. There was a few annoying things where I would place objects or or more than once that unfortunately I couldn't pick back up. I had to destroy it. That was a real shame. There was other times when I placed an object that it looked like I had a good, a good setting, but unfortunately it got destroyed because of course it was in the wrong place. Now if you're doing this with something expensive like a massive gateway, something that takes up quite a few resources, it can suck at times. But that's one of my only few gripes about the building within this game. I was really impressed with just how well you could build, how high you could build, basically without limits. If you can think it, you can pretty much build it. There are a number of different building materials that you can actually build a castle to your heart's content. And I was really surprised with just how detailed you could actually kit out your buildings in the end as well. Once you actually hit the higher levels within this game, I think I'm doing a review at around level 30, maybe 36. And that was obviously ×1 setting. So it took a long time to actually grind up that. Max level is around level 60, I believe. I've actually since hit level 60, and as far as I can tell, there's no real way to get any higher than that. Even killing the bosses, it doesn't seem to boost it any higher than that. Like I said before, you can actually get tames in this game as well, and thralls, other slaves, NPCs to kind of run around with you. You can get certain guys to sit on your blacksmith's bench or sit at your cooking pot and basically improve the quality and cheapen how much it costs for you to build certain things as well, which I thought was a really interesting and nice touch. I think one of my favorite things about having the NPCs is that you can actually dress them yourself. You can, get all the armor, because you do get a lot of armor in this game, especially the further you go, you seem to acquire a hell of a lot of things. With all of the thralls that you actually manage to tame and get yourself that are in your base, you can actually put them in whatever gear you want, have them set up weapon-wise however you want, and they will help defend your base as much as they possibly can. And of course, you will need their help too, because if you choose to have the settings actually enabled, every now and again you will get something called the purge, where the game basically attacks your base, which I also thought was incredibly exciting. I also thought it was really interesting how, depending on where you set up your base, you would actually have an increased level of the purge attacking you as well. So that's really interesting. So if you are a noob or want to be a noob or want the easier experience, then stay around the beginning spawn, because the further north you go, the harder the game gets. Now, there are no real quests in this game. This is a survival game. There's no real direction. There is a journey which you can follow. It will give you very simple tasks to complete, and it kind of gives you an idea of what it is you need to do to further the game. But ultimately, all you have to do is survive. So what you do is completely up to you. If you want to pick this game up to be a survival game, you can do that. If you want to see all the sites in the map, you could do that too. Or if you want the best gear, then you can look at having that be your main target. But this is one of those games where you're not going to have your hand held. So if you're not into traditional hardcore survival games, then maybe this game just isn't for you. One of the things I was pleasantly surprised about, however, that there was characters like Conan himself actually within your world. You can go up to him and talk to him, and I thought that was really interesting. As well as him, there are several really interesting bosses lying around. Sometimes you'll run into them completely unexpectedly, and I really liked that. I really liked the what I thought was the surprise elements within this game, like running into a dragon, a giant dragon like standing in front of you, or a winged bat, or maybe even running into a god. You're not entirely sure whether they're actually going to attack you or whether you can just walk around him. And as I've already mentioned, you get a lot of gear in this game as well. Now, the gear and the materials that you use play a major role within this game. And it's a very easy to understand mechanic within this game, because it's in pretty much every single game out there at the moment. You get the lower end quality gear, and you know it's lower end quality because it looks it, it feels it, and of course you manage to make it really cheaply. But then you also get the higher end gear and even legendary gear as well, which you have to hunt down yourself within a game. Of course, all the answers are online. You can find everything that you want to find online if you have a little Google. So that's another little thing that you can do too. Now, this game is definitely not a perfect game. It's not a perfect survival game. It does have some clunky mechanics, and of course, there is no real story to this game whatsoever. But all that being said, this game earns an 8 out of 10. Very impressive game. I was really impressed with it. And if you guys are looking to pick up a brand new survival game, maybe you haven't played this yet, if you've got Game Pass or maybe you've got the spare money, give it a go because it's definitely worth your time. And if you've got mates that are into this game as well, it's even better with them too. So guys, if you enjoyed this review, please don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and of course comment your thoughts. Maybe you've played this game before. Let me know your thoughts on this game back when you originally played it, or maybe you're going to pick it up now and give it another go. Let me know down below and I'll do my very best to make sure that I comment back on every single one. But that's it guys, I'll see you in the next video real soon. And for all of you absolute legends out there that stayed to the very end of the review, thank you very much for doing so. Honestly, I say it every time, but it is the best way to support this channel. Very much appreciate it. And don't forget to comment red banana down below. That way all the people that didn't have no idea what the hell you're talking about. I'll catch you later.